Just gonna casually make sure we're not actually live, and this is the beginning. Oh, here we go.
We're live.
We're live. All right. What a delay. What a delay.
With some Facebook issues, but we're live there now too.
Perfect. Welcome to another edition of the Bulluminati podcast, proudly presented by Irish 31. We'll get into the watch party here in a second, but man, it's gonna be a fun week. It was a fun Saturday. We'll get into that. As always, joined by Seth Varnadore and Robert Steeg as we break down the Bulls' win over Temple, and we'll preview ECU and everything like that. But guys, we've got our Daily Stampede watch party on Thursday night. Let's go. At the Irish 31 pub and eatery down in Hyde Park. Address 1611 West Swan Ave, Tampa, Florida, 33606. There are parking garages, free parking garages. There's going to be great drink specials, maybe a special guest or two that'll pop by. Ticket giveaways. It's going to be a lot of fun. There'll be a raffle, so the proceeds will go to help us send folks on the road to cover games and other expenses that this what we do costs. So it's always a fun time. Always enjoy hanging out with the fans and just interacting with fellow USF fans and really commiserating our experience as a Bull. So I'm excited, guys. What thoughts? Excited for Thursday? Seth, you're not really from Tampa, so
no, I'm not. Yeah, if this was at the Sarasota location, because there is an Irish 31 Sarasota, that would be much easier for me to get to. But yes, I'll be making the long trek. I saw there's a Cine Bistro. Maybe go catch a matinee of Dune beforehand. So we'll see. We'll play it by ear. But I've got the location and the GPS. I'm already ready to go.
It's going to be fun. These are always fun. I think everyone loves to interact with each other outside of the social media, outside of the good old Twitter sphere. And that Irish 31 location is pretty fun. It's we got a lot going on in Hyde Park Village. It's an up and coming. No one really knows about it or anything, so it's a hidden gem amongst you Tampa folks. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see everyone. I'm excited to see the whole crew back together in the USF Twitter herd, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think most of the Daily Stampede crew has been in the same room together in a good little bit. Bits and pieces of us have been together, but nothing quite like this. And I think it'll be even better in New Orleans in November. So excited for this. Excited to hang out with the fans and weird things happen at watch parties that we throw. 2018 was something to behold as Diet Lemon Booty Philip Montgomery literally gave the game away for the Bulls as Kobe Weiss kicks the game-winning field goal to beat Tulsa 25-24 on the road. And then the following year at ECU, here we go. At ECU 2 years ago today, folks. 2 years ago today. USF runs through ECU, and we'll get to USF running through another team here in a second as after what they did to Temple. But weird things happen. It was, Charlie Strong's last win as USF head coach. It was USF's last FBS win. So take that for good luck or bad luck, but those things definitely happened. But I'm excited to see everyone and just interact. It's always a fun time to see you guys. And I went down to the the stands at halftime last week, and just a bunch of people just coming up and saying hello and interacting and having a lot of fun. So this is going to be another great time. Drink, be merry. There's going to be some great USF drink specials there and some good food. I'm excited, but let's get into last week's win over Temple. Guys, I was pretty bold. I was pretty bullish, so to speak, on USF decimating Temple. And, I said they would win by 20-plus points. And they won by 20, and they controlled this game from basically start to finish. There was that one minor blip on the field goal, but other than that, pretty thoroughly dominating performance as they beat Temple 34-14 for USF's first FBS win in nearly 2 years. This was such a must-win game just for the culture, for the fans, for the entirety of the program. Steeg, you were moving in with your girlfriend on Saturday. How was it? Kind of just
lame.
Just as an outside observer, as everybody's kind of in the stadium, just kind of freaking out as the game's going on.
So we wrapped up moving in around like 3. Then we headed to a friend's Halloween party. So I got to debut my 3rd straight year as a mustachioed individual, as the one Ted Lasso. And boy, did that costume kind of give its own premonition on what was going to occur that night. I think the key thing about that game wasn't the fact that we won. It's the fact that we're able to kind of keep the faith on Jeff Scott and kind of say, okay, like, he's not cursed. We can win FBS games under his guidance, under his helm. But ultimately, more than what Jeff Scott's supposed hot seat is, the fans really needed this, and the fans absolutely needed a win where it's convincing. I think, a 10-point win wasn't going to do it for most fans. If it was within 1 score towards the end, maybe Temple was taking a drive to potentially tie or take the lead or whatnot, I don't think you would be able to, keep the faith within the fan base. But to go out there and dominate a team like that from the wire and just, control the line of scrimmage, produce turnovers, and make consecutive stops, I think that's what you kind of needed as a head coach for Jeff Scott, and fans to kind of say, hey, we're not as bad as the record might say at times. I think that North Carolina State game kind of put everyone down in the dumps. Now I think we're being uplifted, but the key thing to remember here is we're still making progress. I not to put too much out there before you, Nate, or anything, but I don't think we should get our hopes up that this team has completely turned the corner and now they're going to go on an undefeated streak of 17 straight FBS wins or anything. But man, does it feel good to win and to talk shit on Twitter and to kind of feel like the old times, kind of feel like what it was in 2017 a little bit.
Absolutely, 100% agree, and we'll get to my hashtag thoughts on ECU because there are plenty and they're a bit spicy here. Seth, you were in the stadium sitting next to me the entire time. Could you kind of believe that this is the performance you were going to be getting from this USF team? It was really a toss-up of if they were even going to show up, after getting kicked in the nuts like they did.
Yeah, I was most surprised, I think, by the defense because you'd seen the offense have some flashes of really good play. The defense played really well all night, and that was kind of the biggest surprise, I guess. Or really, I just wasn't expecting it. You always thought that they had some talent, so they're capable of playing better. It seemed to be a lot of a function of health and lack of health. So I wasn't shocked because this Temple team was bad, and we thought they would be pretty bad before the season. And then they won a few games, and so you kind of started to think, well, maybe they're not. Maybe they're a little bit better on offense than I thought, or a little bit better on defense than I thought. They were not. They were pretty bad.
They were very bad.
And then USF did what you do to good teams. You bury them. And they could have scored, probably a couple more touchdowns if they wanted to. They basically shut it down with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter and good field position. So if USF wanted to tack on some more points, they could have left the starters in and probably done it. But I think the point was made. They physically dominated the game from the get-go. Even after the field goal mishap and the unbelievable awesome play by Chris Carter, we kind of turned to each other in the box and we're like, that was an unbelievable play by him just to get that tackle. He kind of came out of nowhere like a flash.
Yep.
Great play by him. Awesome. Like you want to talk about culture and people, Is this team still playing hard for Jeff Scott? How's the culture? Bang, right there. There it is. Like, that's like the perfect encapsulation of culture, the team's culture, and how much they play for each other and try to play hard for each other. So, but even after that, where the drive ended poorly, it also ended where you run the ball down your throat and then you kind of try to throw a couple passes and the drive stalls out. And we kind of were looking at each other like, hey, man, they can run the ball at will, it seems like. And they pretty much did. Broke the school record for rushing yards. Could have broke it by a lot more, but the bad snap gets counted against the rushing total for some reason. But they played a really complete game on both sides of the ball, and it was great to see those guys put it together after how hard they've worked all season, all off season, to kind of get to see them put it all together for once was really fun.
Yes. That I hesitate to even say this right now. And maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should wait until this week, after this week.
No, just go ahead and say it. What's the worst thing that happens?
That it comes back to bite me in the butt, and it's not even close to what I think it could be.
Nate, I've said stupider shit on the internet before.
I know, but I have a reputation to uphold.
Oh, you're right.
Message it to Steeg. He'll say it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll message it, and then we'll keep talking. But I
can give you my hot take if you want.
Oh, absolutely.
You want my hot take while you message to Steeg to say your hot take? My hot take was that, and I think I said it to you in the box at the time, that tackle by Chris Carter could be looked back as like not necessarily saving Jeff Scott's job, but he might look back on it and be like, you know what, that right there is when everything turned. That was kind of the proof of concept of kind of what we're doing culturally. And, after the way that tackle and then the response by the defense really kind of that's what we're trying to do here. That's the proof of concept. There it is. And I think they'll look back on that play very fondly for years to come if the team kind of turns this around and keeps moving forward as it looks like they're going to do. Steeg, do you have something? To say?
I have two things more specifically. I firmly believe that Chris Carter play, or if that situation were to happen for all 129 other FBS teams, they let them score. There's no way. Like, I would maybe think like Alabama may with the amount of care they have on special teams. I think most times in most schools, in most situations, they're going to let them score. Like, there's no way that a blocking tight end is running 21 miles per hour down the field to chase down a starting cornerback to make the tackle like that.
That's the natural inclination is to quit.
Like, you're probably gonna jog for maybe like 30 or 40 yards. Like Chris was very far away from that defensive back before he made it.
Great angle he took too.
But the important thing is that I think for USF faithful, that Chris Carter tackle is the 2015 double pass against Syracuse. The flea flicker there. I think most USF fans can remember that day fondly and look back at it and say that was the turning point for Quentin Flowers and Willie Taggart, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that's the hidden messaging here from someone that says, this is the next chapter.
Is that off your teleprompter?
Yeah.
I think if this program takes the steps forward that we think they can to Jeff Scott, this will definitely be a kind of watershed moment that you'll look back on and kind of be like, this was kind of the first real, flag in the ground. This is what this team is. This is that personified. And then the defense turning it right around and getting the ball right back.
I want to be able to do that domino meme that I posted today about Florida State Miami. I want to use that for Chris Carter makes a tackle on special teams, and then have a USF wins the ACC in 2027. Like, I want that domino effect to start today.
Why wait to 2027?
That's the first year we're in the ACC, of course.
Oh, ACC. Okay.
Yeah.
AAC.
No, oh no.
There you go.
We're going
Much higher aspirations for Mr. Robert Steeg there, Seth. See, you touched on it. Chris Carter, he peaked running on that play at 21.12 miles per hour. At 6'4", 238 pounds. It was the second fastest speed clocked by a USF player on Saturday night. The top one going to TJ Robinson, who's a defensive back who probably weighs roughly 40 pounds less than Christopher Carter. I can't explain just how incredible. We're going to, I promise you guys, on the film room tomorrow, we are going to break that play down frame by frame. So, Seth, if you want to write that down, that's definitely going to be one of the plays we're going to be talking about.
Yes.
The key thing for him is, so Spencer Schrader's back there trying to like slow the guy down a little bit, and then Schrader like gets kind of pancaked and he's down on the ground. The way Chris Carter avoids him and doesn't lose speed and still is able to hawk him down is just it's a thing of beauty. It's one of the underrated parts about that play, and he's running from the opposite end of the field. It was 85 yards, but it was probably the way the angle he took, it was probably like 120. I don't know how the math works in angles. I was terrible at geometry. I think I had to take it twice in high school, if I'm not mistaken. I am a writer. I am not a mathematician. But he ran a really, really long way. And then the next offensive possession for him, he grabs a 1 yard, little 1 yard dump off from Timmy Mclean and gets 8 yards. He breaks the tackle, and then as he's falling forward, he falls forward for like 5 more yards. And it's just those small little things, right, that just kind of add up. And I can guarantee you that play doesn't happen under Charlie Strong. Or last year. Like, that is just something that does not happen. And frankly, I'd be hard pressed to say it would have happened under Willie Taggart as well. That's just something you can't take for granted. And man, it was just such a refreshing sequence. And then Christian Williams comes back, gets the tip, and it falls into Micah LaPointe's hands. And then the ultimate complimentary football, special teams makes a play after a bad special teams play, but they make the play. The defense stands up, gets the turnover, and then the offense once again just drives down Temple's throat and scores a touchdown. And I mean, after those first 2 drives, the quarter was over, and you kind of figured, man, this is gonna be a different kind of game, and it ended up being a different kind of game. And man, fun times had by all on Saturday night.
As an old coach, that Chris Carter play warmed the cockles of my heart. It was beautiful. It was everything you kind of are hoping your guys will play like. It's just, he's a winning player, and if everybody played like him, you'd win a lot of games. So that's always great. Another interesting thing, and we're having a couple people talk about it in the chat. So Tom says, was it him, or were they running a lot less halfback dives or off tackle, started using more pitches, sweeps, and runs? Yeah, they definitely had a game plan in the first half, and we'll go more in depth tomorrow with video of making Temple run sideline to sideline, using their speed to make them run, kind of wear them down a little bit. And then the second half, they started running the same looks where it looked like they were going to run sideline to sideline, get Temple running horizontal, and then start running counters back the other way and getting vertical with it. And there were huge seams being opened. So really good job by the staff of kind of understanding. I think we have an advantage with the speed sweep and outside. And then in the second half, after they kind of get adjusted to that or kind of recognize we're going to go to that a lot, now we're going to come back with this counter off of it and really kind of break the game open. And that's what they did. So really good scheme offensively to make Temple run, and then in the second half switch it up and kind of totally mess with their reads and stuff like that on defense. So really, really, really good job, I thought, all around by USF on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. And, those plays really work when you utilize your speed, but the guys who you're giving the ball to have good feet, right? And it's being able to put your foot in the ground and get upfield quickly and fluidly, and all of the backs were able to do that exceptionally well on Saturday. I mean, Seth, how many times did we say Jerry Mangum's feet were just flawless on Saturday?
Yeah, he's got great feet for how big he is.
He shouldn't be able to move that nimbly in between the tackles, outside the tackles, and get upfield as well as he does. And then Brian Petit and Kelly Jr. just complimentary football, those two with Jerry Mangum, and that three-headed monster is it's going to be fun as they progress through their time here at USF. I know each of them have a couple more years left, but man, that was fun to see. Jerry Mangum's added 2 touchdowns. So he's got 12 on the year now. He's creeping up. He's 6 closer to Quentin Flowers. He's 6 away from Quentin Flowers' single season rushing record. And he's, I think, 4 away from Marlon Mack's single season rushing record from a running back. Which is incredible. And, Seth, you mentioned it, 421 yards, a single game program record, previously done in 2016 versus Cincinnati. And if you recall, that 2016 team had Marlon Mack and Dearness Johnson, Darius Tice, and some guy named Quentin Flowers. So to be able to do it with the backs you have now is pretty damn impressive. Just all around, just fun stuff. They finished with 526 total yards of offense. They held Temple to -1 yard rushing in the first half, and Temple ended up with 34, but pretty meaningless. Temple ran. Let me make sure I get this right. Where are they? Temple ran 34 plays. USF had 34 first downs. Like, you can't dominate a game more than that. 34 first downs. You hold the ball for over 44 minutes. Just absolutely ran them into the ground.
Yeah, I think USF ended up with 60 more plays than Temple.
Yep.
That's like a full game's worth of plays in some spots. Like, I think USF has been about, in a few games, have been close to 67, 69, 70. They've been in that range mostly. So 60 extra plays is almost like making a defense play another game compared to what USF's defense had to play. So that was also a big factor in why USF's defense looked so good. They were fresh. They didn't have to be on the field for a ton. They got on the field. Even when they gave up big plays, it happened typically happened quickly. They gave up scoring drives. It happened very fast, and they got back off the field, and the offense held the ball. So really good complementary football, as Coach Scott would say.
I think my favorite stat was our Aussie punter from down under with spent 0 minutes on the field. Didn't even really get a whiff of grass at any point, which, I think the USF Twitter account, which has been absolutely fantastic this year, put it best. We flew this man 11,000 miles from his home in Australia, where he's drinking Foster's amongst kangaroos, for him to sit on the sideline for 60 minutes and do absolutely nothing, which is, I don't remember the last time USF didn't punt the ball in a game.
September 26th, 2009 against Charleston Southern. It was, excuse me, no, September 19th, 2009 against Charleston Southern. It was the game Matt Grothy tore his ACL. BJ Daniel comes in. I think BJ goes like 11 of 13 for 100 and something yards, a score, and then rushes for 143 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then the very next week beats Florida State 17-7.
Just casual weekend.
So it's been a long bit since that had happened. And it's really rare. I mean, it's really rare. And there's a confluence of factors, right? Your offense is clicking on all cylinders, and your head coach is going for it aggressively, going for it. Officially, they go 4 of 6 on 4th down, but it was really 4 or 5. That last one is the field goal. They've got to put it down as something. It can't be nothing. You've got to account for that, which is why Andrew Beardall will more than likely finish his collegiate career with negative 24 yards rushing. So tough break for my guy. And also will probably go into the record books for most negative rushing yards in a season. We're going to have to check that out. We're going to have to get
definitely have the worst average yards per rush.
For sure, unless it happens again.
Yeah.
So who knows? But let's put Temple to bed, and we'll discuss more of Temple tomorrow night. But let's head into ECU. This is I wouldn't say it's as much of a must win as last week was, but it's pretty important. If you can get 2 wins in 5 days, that's a good jump start to the last month of the year. Wouldn't you say so, boys?
I would think so.
It's a pretty good thing to happen.
That would put them at 3. How many more would they need to make a bowl game?
3.
Well, I mean, now you start thinking big. Really, if you get over 4, if you hit 4, that's the over on your season win total. So I'm sure there's some degenerate USF fans that are really excited about that possibility. So
exactly, a little primer on ECU here. They are 3-4, 1-2 in the American. They've beaten the likes of Charleston Southern, Marshall, and I'm blanking on the third one. Tulane. So they've beaten some great teams this year, folks. They're definitely not a mirage. I definitely think they're good. There definitely should be a 10-point favorite.
Nate, I'm sensing a little sarcasm.
Just a pinch. Just a pinch. ECU is absolutely fucking terrible, and we'll get into it. They are a fucking trash can, and USF is going to win by 2 touchdowns. I've blown my prediction already. I've blown my load. ECU is trash. USF is going to win by 2 scores. They are so bad. Steeg, you know it. I know it. We've said it for years. Holton Ahlers sucks ass as a quarterback. He is terrible. Stats of war. His Parker's expected points per play average is like near dead last in the American. It's below Timmy Mclean. I mean, it is atrocious. Shit, even Desmond Ritter's expected points average is worse than Timmy McLean's, but they're probably because they're leading and they're just kind of, I don't know. Maybe Cincinnati smoke and mirrors. We'll get to that in November, but maybe.
Relax. Let's not get ahead of yourself.
Nate gets 1 win under
only one fraud. Only one fraud at a time, please.
God, it's so bad how much of a homer I am. For a Hey Blog, I'm such a homer. I'll be perfectly honest with you. But ECU's trash. I think Mike Houston is an okay coach. I think putting his coaching career in Holton Ahlers' hands has been a choice that has been made. It's not been a great choice. I'll be perfectly frank on that. And Daniel, we will get to that as we progress. But ECU is they're so bad. Like, so bad. They're horrendous. Let's have some fun with some stats, because I like stats here as we get ready for this game. They're averaging 28.7 points per game. Their opponents are averaging 28.4, averaging 4.2 yards a rush. They've thrown 13 passing touchdowns. They've thrown 6 interceptions. They've given up a kickoff return for a touchdown that was proved very, very costly last week at Houston. But the thing that I love and that we will talk about forever and ever and ever is ECU is absolutely awful on third down. Awful. Like, USF's pretty bad. They're 34%. ECU is much, much, much worse. They were, I believe, 1 of 12 at Houston last week. They are 26 of 103 for the season, which is 25%, which is, folks, not great.
No.
And then some might say that's bad.
In the red zone, They've scored on 21 of 23 possessions, which is great, but they've only scored touchdowns on 52% of those possessions, which is less than ideal when you're playing red zone roulette with teams. And defensively, they've allowed 17 of 27 red zone touchdowns. This team is smoke. Like, this is literally smoke and mirrors. Heath, you're probably right. They're probably just going to kick us right in the face because that's just how things go. But ECU is terrible. USF is 9-2 all time against ECU. Or USF is 9-2 all time against ECU. USF is 5-0 in Greenville. They are not going to lose. They're going to go to 6-0 in Greenville because, quite frankly, USF owns ECU. Joe Janord's home run is still not landed. I swear to you, USF will win. I promise we will have a fun watch party. Everyone's going to be drunk, happy, merry. The game's at 7:30 on ESPN. One of my favorite commentators of college football, Harry Lyles Jr., is the sideline reporter. He's been great. He was at SB Nation for a long time. He's fantastic. He's part of that shut down full cast crew, the split zone duo out of that school of journalism, so to speak. But he's a little bit more professional than maybe Spencer and Holly, and I think they would probably freely admit that. He's great at what he does. All right, now I've said my spiel. Talk me off the ledge here as to why ECU should be a 10-point favorite, and I'll concede. Are they a 10-point favorite because there's more than likely Timmy Mclean doesn't play?
Well, they open as a 6-point favorite. It's been bet up to 10. The money has gone, so right now 50%. So in terms of tickets, and I think this is starting to kind of move now because the line's gotten so high. But right now the tickets are 50-50. So 50% of the bets are on East Carolina, 50% of the bets are on South Florida. Right now, 85% of the money is on East Carolina. So the people that are betting big money are betting on East Carolina. Now, that also was when it opened at 6 at some places, 7.5 others. It's been bet up to 10. So I'm sure you'll start to see that regulate as we get closer to kickoff. But if it doesn't, then you've got a lot of big money on ECU, and that's what's driven the spread up. If I'm going to be the throw cold water on people, we'll look at these are the advanced stats from Parker, Stats of War. And this is kind of where the cold water comes in to me a little bit. In terms of USF's defense, as well as they played last week, they've not played well this season. East Carolina's offense seems to be all right. They're not great at anything, but they're not one of the worst in the country like we saw last week with Temple. Decent rushing, decent passing. Equal rate is kind of drives that get inside the opponent's 40 or have an explosive touchdown. So kind of above average in terms of that. But what they're not good at is when they have those good drives, they're not good at scoring points and finishing those good drives, which is last week was one of our points and has been all season. Getting in the red zone and finishing drives. USF did a much better job of that last week. And we'll have to see that continue on both sides of the ball against ECU because it seems like these teams do a pretty good job of defensively not allowing long quality drives, not allowing you to get past the 40. So here defensively, they only allow 42% of drives to get to their 40. But when they do, they allow points. So it's really, can you move the ball and get down there? There have not been good finishing drives on either side of the ball. So USF has a advantage there. But to me, it's going to come down to how does the defense play for USF? Is last week an aberration or is that a sign of progress? If it's a sign of progress and you're getting to see more of that, especially kind of looking here at third and fourth downs defensively, USF's gotten a lot better. This used to be a much bigger number. ECU is very bad on third and fourth downs, as Nathan already mentioned. If the defense can play well, get off the field, give the offense more opportunities, their metrics aren't bad, but you go back and look at their schedule. I don't think anybody scored. What is it? South Carolina scored 20, but they're one of the worst offenses in the country. App State 33, Marshall 38, Charleston Southern 28, Tulane 29 with 4 turnovers, UCF 20, Houston 31 in overtime. So they've given up points this year. So maybe play to play, they're pretty good, but they've shown the ability to give up some points. So you'd imagine USF's going to score in the high 20s, maybe more. So it's kind of going to be, can the defense hold down ECU's offense? To me, that's kind of the big matchup. I think USF's offense will be able to move the ball a little bit, put some points up, but can the defense hold like they did last week?
And another thing kind of to remember about looking at these stats right here is I mean, I know we're 8 games into the season. I feel like a lot of this might be a little skewed.
This is not a roll. This is not a rolling average. This is everything. So all that tough games early are still in there, unfortunately.
Yeah, and so when you look at like the NC State game and the Florida game and everything like that, where you kind of knew USF was gonna struggle. That's where a lot of these numbers are coming from. And despite all of those struggles of playing top premier talent and programs in the country, USF fared, I think, pretty well, all things considered, statistically. I know there's a lot of dark red on that left side, but percentage-wise, I mean, these are marginal percentages in the grand scheme of things between, and I'm looking at the defensive success rate specifically, there was a pretty marginal difference between where USF was at with 45% and then them being out of that dark red. And that could be 1 or 2 drives against Cincy State and Florida at this point. So I think the good thing about these stats is it gives you a really good depiction, especially 8 weeks into the season, where what USF's identity is right now. It's running the ball. That's what we've been favoring for the entire season. I think this week is going to be the prove it week for being able to throw the football. ECU is going to sell out on the run. I mean, if you just set a school record in rushing yards, I mean, if I'm ECU's coach, they blitz, I think, on like 80% of their plays. So, this might be a time where USF might be able to take advantage of this RPO offense that Charlie Weiss is kind of known for and, hit some tunnel screens, hit some quick passes against this blitz, because it's going to leave, some holes open. And we don't have a lot of film on us being really successful throwing the ball between, 15 yards. So I think that's one way, to Nate's point, you could probably catch ECU on a short week. They may not be as ready for it. They might look at 421 rushing yards and say, oh, shit, guys, we're going to have to load up the defensive line, load up linebackers because they're going to pound the rock. This is where USF can say, like, let's get aggressive. Let's run some trick plays. Let's run some quick screens and put our athletes into space, because I guarantee our athletes on offense are probably pretty better than the athletes on ECU's defense. It's a lot of guys that aren't probably used to Florida speed. So this is where, again, to Nate's point, you could probably catch a team like ECU by surprise. They're probably thinking this is going to be a sleepwalk game based off of all the stats and the money and all that stuff. But, short weeks are funny things sometimes.
And the interesting kind of matchup wrinkle here when you're looking at the advanced stats here is the success rate. Where is ECU worse on defense, it seems, in terms of success rate? So that's kind of success rate is, do you allow or not allow the yards the offense needs to get a first down, or to pick up 3 or more on first down, half the yardage you need on second down, and then convert third down. So if you did all those, you'd have 100% success rate. If you didn't allow any of it, you'd have a zeros, right? So where is ECU a little weak on defense? They're 80th in the country in terms of rushing success rate allowed. USF obviously is in terms of offensive success rate is 45th in the country in rushing. And that's even with all those kind of stinkers earlier in the year where you had trouble running the ball against really good defenses. So when you kind of look at that, that would be USF's, it would seem to be their advantage. So like Steeg said, is ECU going to have to come load the box now to stop the run because they haven't been very good at it? If so, now maybe you have some opportunities in the passing game off play action, RPO stuff, and maybe you can get some shots downfield in the passing game to take advantage of those loaded boxes. So that's going to be the matchup to watch on that side of the ball, I think. And then offensively, it seems like ECU's not very good running the ball, marginally better passing. So if you can shut down the quarterback, who some here don't think is very good, if you can shut him down, then you've got a good chance of success.
He's not.
Holton Ahlers he can't string together multiple good performances. Just full disclosure, he's incapable of doing it. He played actually pretty all right for the last 2 weeks against UCF and Houston, both in losing efforts. So
now is he due, or is this a trend? That's what we're gonna find out on Thursday. If he's due for a stinker, maybe this is it. I mean, he was supposed to be this like big bruising back that can run and can do things, can throw the ball, can run. He's averaging 0.4 yards per carry this year, guys.
So his numbers right now, he's 60% passing, 1,700 yards, 7.4 yards attempt, 10 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, which I thought was his big problem last year is he threw a ton of picks. He didn't against USF. They're able to run the ball really well. 250 yards a game on 34 attempts a game. And then, like Nate said, running. They're running him quite a bit, it seems like, but he's only averaging 3.7 yards. They're running him 9 times a game or almost 10 times a game. So he's a part of their offense for sure, but he's not been able to do much in terms of yards. He's averaging 3.7 yards a game.
That's oh man, it's
some
really,
of that would be.
really
I'm sure there's some sack yards included there, but
there
67 rush attempts and 26 yards.
Yeah, and
he's not being featured in the old run game there.
Now the dude that I am terrified of is Keaton Mitchell, their actual running back. 88 carries, 677 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's averaging 7.7 yards per carry. He's the only guy averaging over 4 yards per carry for this ECU team. He's the guy you need to stop. I think if you can stop him, you'll be all right because Holton Ahlers is, again, trash. He is a trash can. Don't worry about him. He is an absolute trash can. I haven't felt this strongly about a quarterback being bad in a good little bit.
Fun thing to remember about Keaton Mitchell is of that 677 yards that he has rushing, 222 of it has came against Tulane. Where
pad them stats, baby.
He padded stats that game.
So
you take that out, you're looking a little bit less than 7.7 yards per carry.
The Tulane game is the biggest outlier, and then when you go look at it, ECU had a +4 turnover margin in that game. I think Tulane threw 3 interceptions and had fumbled the ball. ECU, I don't think, turned the ball over. So when you're +4 in the turnover department, you're gonna blow people out. So, it's I think it's maybe more when I think it's probably gonna be closer than the 10 points for sure. But it's another winnable game as we've had the past few weeks. So it's always good.
Yeah, this is such a winnable game. Tyler Snead's been pretty good. He's the 5'7" slot receiver, 35 catches, 476 yards. He has 2 touchdowns. They spread the ball around. 8 different guys have at least 10 catches, and every single person who's caught a ball has a touchdown, including Holton Ahlers. And the thing you need to watch out for is Tyler Snead. He's 2 for 4 passing with 2 touchdowns. So you got to be careful with some trickeration because I think ECU knows they're going to have to pull out all the stops because they are actually a trash can and are not as nearly as good as their record would indicate. I think this is very much like Temple in that regard. I'm pretty confident in this game. which is probably not a great omen for the Bulls. if we're being perfectly frank here, but I don't think ECU is that good, guys. I really don't. And this is such a winnable game, like by far, like one of probably their third most winnable game on the schedule. Outside of FAMU and Temple, it's the most winnable game of the 5 remaining. Is that how I math right? 5 left. I think it's this one and maybe Tulane as well. Both on the road. But maybe Temple or maybe Tulane gets it together by November. I don't think they will. I think Willie Fritz's proof of concept offense left when Will Hall went to Southern Miss. I think that's going to be a bigger story in the offseason like that. Alex, I am quadrupling down on this, man, and I'm sorry, but I just don't see it. I really don't.
Come to the watch party.
Come to the watch party so you can yell at him if the If I'm dead wrong, you guys can yell at me at the watch party. But if I'm right, you can heap praise upon him, which is
and make sure I get an Uber home.
Well, we'll have a dunk tank ready for him just in case. You can pay $10 to throw the ball.
You come yell at me at Irish 31 Hyde Park, 1611 West Swan Avenue, Tampa, Florida 33606. Thursday night at 7:30, kickoff on ESPN. Gonna be a fun night. I keep coming back to like they're just gonna win. Like this is just one of those. It's just one of those things. I don't know. I haven't felt this confident in a good little bit. Well, maybe I haven't felt this confident. I haven't felt this confident in like 8 days. If we're being real, I knew USF was going to just absolutely blow out Temple, and I was right. And Seth, maybe this is the game I'm just so dead wrong about USF.
Maybe,
maybe it's this game. I was dead right last week. We've been pretty on the money outside of Tulsa, but no one would have predicted that ending.
I gave my final score in the Tulsa game was 31-30, so we weren't that far off.
So hey Nate,
but
what's the update on Timmy Mclean?
Timmy Mclean, this is interesting. Jeff Scott says it's probably going to be a game time decision. I wouldn't believe that as far as I could throw him. And my shoulder's been acting up, so I don't want to throw anyone right now. With my bad knee, you shouldn't be throwing anyone right now. That's a Ferris Bueller reference for you people. For you people who didn't understand that one, nothing completely over Steeg's head. God.
Whatever.
Ever heard of a man called Ed Rooney? Principal. Very angry.
I can't even think of anything funny.
Turned out to do a lot of bad stuff in real life, but we're not going to talk about that part of it. But
oh yeah, oh man.
But you could tell he had it out for Ferris the whole time.
Yeah.
Dirtbag.
It really was.
Crane kicked in the face by Ferris Bueller's sister.
Jennifer Grey, a young Jennifer Grey.
Dirty Dancing fame.
I mean,
does this sound interesting to you, Steve?
Sorry, what were we going to talk about? I was on Twitter.
Have you seen the producers?
Surprisingly, no. It's on my watch list though. Not because I've seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I'm just fucking. Have you seen the Lion King animated version? Yes.
Do you know who Matthew Broderick is?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know who John Hughes is?
No. That's where you're gonna lose me.
Oh my!
I'm gonna be not to derail this podcast.
We're derailing it right now. We're close to wrapping up. We're gonna have this conversation right now, here, Steeg.
My brain is filled with a lot of information. Right?
Is it though?
It's filled with a lot of Survivor information.
Cats.
they're cats and Broadway is just in general. My biggest weakness as a human being, and all of my friends can attest this, I don't know actors like at all. Like if we were to play like Guess Who with like a bunch of famous actors, like ones that you could just recognize off their face, I'd be terrible at it. Every time I see like a story about a celebrity on Twitter or something like that, I have to physically like see the name. I have to go to Google. I have to find something that they've been in that I've watched and like watch a scene and be like, oh, now I know who that is. Like, and not to talk about that topic too much, but that Alec Baldwin story, I had like, it took me like 5 minutes to track down a picture of Alec Baldwin and what I recognized him in.
Ladies and gentlemen,
do you know who Tom Selleck is?
Yes, I know who Tom Selleck is.
Right,
are you sure?
I was going to rip the mustache off your face if you didn't know that.
There's like 5 celebrities off the top of my head that I can absolutely just pinpoint no matter what.
They all have mustaches.
Most of them have mustaches.
Yes.
But other than that, like if there's an actress with the name Jennifer, good luck. I couldn't tell you any of them. Like,
do you know which Jennifer was in Friends?
No.
Oh.
Nope. Couldn't even do it.
Who's dating Ben Affleck right now?
Couldn't even tell you. Could not even tell you. This is haven't seen
which Jennifer is from the block.
Oh my gosh.
Seth, what are we doing here, man?
I don't know.
You know, there's a lot of things I'm good at. Not really. But yeah, I mean, actors, actresses, yeah, movie trivia, not me. Couldn't do it.
Wow.
The thoughts and ridiculous opinions of Robert Steeg do not reflect the opinions and thoughts of the Daily Stampede as a whole. We're very sorry for this unfortunate information. I thought the ranch obsession was the worst part about Robert Steeg. We have come to find out that it is this. Do you know who George Clooney is?
Yes, because he makes tequila too.
Oh
God. Will Smith.
Yeah.
Katie. All right.
Men in Black.
Yes. Chris Pratt, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans. Can you tell me which ones are which?
Chris Pratt, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Chris Evans, Captain America.
Yes.
Say the last one again because I'm blanking right now.
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth, Thor.
Okay. So we're not that far off.
Do you know who Harrison Ford is?
Why did it have to be snakes? Right? That's what he says. I know Harrison Ford.
The impression wasn't very good. I won't hold that against you though.
I just
I
get
interactions we've had on anything ever in the chat
because
it's ridiculous.
It's honest. Is Paige there?
She's in the shower.
How does she put up with you? And like besides this, like how does she do it?
She moved in with me. That's the bigger. I mean.
Maybe we really need to have her and have a sit down with her about her decision making in life.
Oh, Colin interrogated the ever shit out of her when he finally returned from Las Vegas, and she passed the Colin Sherwood test of restaurants in the Hyde Park area to go to for brunch. So I think she's past that side of things, but yeah, we should probably get her checked in the head.
Yeah. Tom, I thought he was about to do the Samuel L. Jackson bit from Snakes on a Plane, and I was like, dude, you're so off. You were so wrong.
No, he totally did Connery.
It was a little Sean Connery. I know who Sean Connery is. He's James Bond. Yeah.
How does he sound?
He sounds like an Irish. He sounds like an Irish guy with that has a giant packed dip lip in his mouth.
Well, they're called Scottish. They have a name.
Oh no.
We could do an entire podcast.
I think this may be it. I think this may be my final podcast with you on it. I don't know.
So one more time, what does Harrison Ford sound like?
I don't even want to do it again. I remember the only thing I remember is it from, and I'm gonna probably butcher this. It's from Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? Where he's like,
Okay.
"Why did it have to be snakes?"
Yeah.
It's like
not
that.
terrible, but it's kind of terrible. But yes, and the name of the movie was correct. What is the name of the character? You know that the character in the main character
Indiana
in this
Jones.
movie.
Yeah.
Do you know that just
it's at
because of the
Disney.
show? Yeah, that makes sense.
It's because it's the thing at Disney. That's the only reason.
So, like, when they do the montage, like when they had the great movie ride, did you know like each like scene that they were going through?
I'm going to be honest. The ones that I knew were the Broadway ones that they had at the beginning.
Singing in the Rain, you know that.
Yeah, and then
Who's the actor in Singing in the Rain?
Gene Kelly.
And who's the girl?
Couldn't tell you exactly.
Debbie Reynolds. And who's Debbie Reynolds' daughter?
I'm gonna guess Ryan Reynolds, since there's
Oh no, daughter. Oh no,
daughter. Carrie Fisher. Do you know who Carrie Fisher is?
Princess Leia.
There we go. All right, so we're working our way back.
How is she connected to Harrison Ford?
Harrison Ford wanted to, or what am I saying? I'm trying to connect it to the.
Were they in a movie together?
Yeah, they were in Star Wars together.
Okay,
I was trying to connect it to Harrison Ford wanting to have sex with Carrie Fisher, and then that whole thing. I watched all the Star Wars movies during quarantine, so
I do a Harrison Ford impression again.
Do you want him dying during?
Whoa! Spoiler.
The sorry, has been.
But yes, let's see it.
I'm not actually gonna do, but that was one of my.
Reach your hand out to touch the screen.
Yeah, just.
Okay, so
good,
then at the end of the great movie ride, when they like do all the like the famous scenes like from various movies, do you know like most of them?
Maybe 25% of them.
Okay. Did you recognize like the Casablanca scene?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the only good thing is growing up, I watched a lot of movies with my dad, and they were old movies, but I never like cared to learn who any of the characters were because I was between the ages of like 9 and like 15. So I've seen a bunch of old movies. I just can't tell you anyone who's in it. But that's about it.
Who's the voice of Shrek?
Mike Myers.
Who's Donkey?
Oh God, I know who it is, but I can't. I need like multiple choice.
What does Donkey sound like?
No. Nope. I'm also reading the chat right now, and I'm just getting absolutely just roasted to shit.
What is your favorite? What's your favorite movie that's older than you?
Mary Poppins.
Okay.
All right, who's in
music? Depends on.
All right, who's in Mary Poppins?
Julie Andrews, Dick Van Dyke. That's all you really need to know.
Okay.
Animated Penguin.
Yeah, the animated penguins.
All right. Well, I mean, we'll have to do a whole separate podcast on just quizzing Steeg on movies. If you have movie questions,
don't ask him.
Ask Steeg at the watch party.
I just.
Come to the watch party. Steeg will answer all your movie questions and do good impressions of all your favorite characters.
It'll be great.
I don't know. I guess we go to predictions now. I mean, I don't know. I'm just so disappointed right now.
See, this is so much more damaging to your reputation than picking USF to win 55-10 every week.
It really is.
Oh man, this really doesn't do any favor to the fact that like I've been making movie references for the past 2 weeks, and I was actually taking USF, the score seriously as of last week. So I'm really damaging my reputation. I have seen the Goonies. I can do the impression of the guy.
Truffle Shuffle?
No, not the Truffle Shuffle.
Oh.
Hey, you guys.
I mean, I'd rather see the Truffle Shuffle.
Yeah. I'm not going to take my shirt off. We'll get banned, but.
Coward.
Maybe at the watch party, he'll do the Truffle Shuffle.
I'll do the Truffle Shuffle.
If you donate enough.
Oh, man.
I have seen Back to the Future.
Okay.
Because it was a ride at Universal.
I've seen something.
Yeah. Oh man. Do you know who's in the Ghostbusters?
Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy.
Leslie Jones, right? Or Odom Jones.
Yeah. I was gonna say something stupid. I don't want to say anymore.
Ever seen Caddyshack?
My dad loves Caddyshack.
Dude, that's a great man.
And we got him a signed hat.
From
the Gopher.
No, the fucking. Oh my God! Why am I? This is the worst. I don't do good in these types of situations.
Bill Murray, Chevy Chase,
Bill
Ted
Murray.
Knight, Rodney Dangerfield.
It's Bill. We got
the Gopher.
My sister got Bill Murray to sign that hat from Caddyshack, and we got it for my dad for his birthday.
We need to get your sister on
but the only movie, actually, so you guys know those those Billy on the Street things where like
Billy Eichner?
Yeah. That is my biggest fear of all. Like,
it should after tonight. It should be.
I've always joked that like I've never like the only celebrities that I've ever seen in public. I saw Aaron Judge at a restaurant in Davis Island, and that is literally it. Because he's the only person that I could be able to recognize. And the only reason why I recognize him was because he stood up after he was done eating, and he's like 6'8" Puerto Rican. It's like, all right, yeah, it's Aaron Judge. I know who that is. I'm so bad at recognizing like celebrities and actors and everything like that. Paige, how bad am I with like movie actors? She said very.
I agree.
Oh. All right, let's get this over with. Oh my God, Seth Steeg.
Alex,
can't.
I need you to make that meme, by the way, that Daniel was talking about.
I think he's on it.
Yeah.
So how much do we think Timmy's injury, real quick, since we were talking about that before Steeg gave us some really terrible impressions and movie takes.
I worry slightly with this injury. I think you guys clearly saw in the second half, USF's first drive, they threw the ball a little bit with Travis Marsh, and then it stalled out the offense a little bit, and then they're like, all right, screw it. We're just going to hand the ball off the entire time. And he got a couple pop passes. I think we're going to see more of that, but he's got to be able to hit the deep shots too. If Xavier Weaver's back healthy again, hamstrings are tricky, but if he's healthy again, Mario Dollison, whoever steps up, DeMarcus Gregory, whoever steps up in that Weaver role, who's going to be downfield 20, 25 yards, Jimmy Horn, you've got to be able to hit one or two just to keep the ECU offense or defense honest. As Steeg pointed out, they blitz about 80% of the time, and you've got to make them pay. And those hot routes, Jimmy Horn, Sean Atkins, Bryce Miller, I think he'll be back. I think we'll see a little bit more of him. He started getting a little bit of run last week. If you can get those quick slants, the tunnel screens, as you mentioned, Steeg, behind those blitzers, I think we're going to see a crisper offense through the passing game. I understand the 4-point swing from 6 to 10, but I really think Vegas is underestimating how bad the ECU team is.
Yeah, if they do blitz that much, then you're definitely setting yourself up for giving up the big play, which USF's got some guys that can go, like Jimmy Horn. Just watching him run, he runs different than almost everybody on the field. It's quite it's awesome just to kind of watch him go. He's so smooth. Nobody's going to be able to really guard him and run with him if he gets a full head of steam. So, if that's the way they want to play it, I think, what's been kind of interesting the last couple of weeks, and something we've noted and talked about amongst ourselves, is there's been a couple of times it looks like Timmy's a little gun shy, where on the RPO he's pulling the ball, but he's not throwing it because the window maybe is a little tighter than he'd like, or he's waiting. He's not kind of trusting his eyes. It looks like his eyes are taking him to the right place, but he's kind of holding and not pulling the trigger super fast. So it'll be interesting to see if he does not play or if he's limited, and Marsh or Fortin or whoever's the second string quarterback, Marsh last week,
Ridge Jacobs,
rotating thing, to see how those guys come in and throw the ball, because I think there's been some opportunities in the passing game. We've seen how close USF's been on some of these deep shots and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see if one of these guys can come in and maybe throw the ball around a little bit, and you might get some really good opportunities with heavy boxes and man-to-man coverage. So I don't think it's a death sentence if Timmy doesn't play. I think it hurts you because he's your starter and he does a lot of things that you can't even teach. But I think they got some talented guys behind him, which is definitely different than it's been in the past few seasons where the depth was not there. And if a guy got hurt, then you really had to put the second guy in bubble wrap, basically, because if he got hurt, there was nobody left. So I think you're in a much better situation there. So if he doesn't play, I don't think this is a total game killer for USF. But obviously, you'd like to see him play if he's full strength.
Agreed. Now that we've settled that, and I think we're comfortably removed from Robert Steeg. Seth, let's get a prediction time ahead of Thursday night's game as USF faces ECU on the road in Greenville, North Carolina, while the USF watch party at Irish 31 Hyde Park at 1611 West Swan Avenue, Tampa, Florida, 33606 takes place. The Daily Stampede watch party. Make sure you're there. Seth, predictions for Thursday night.
All right, so 100% honesty, I was going to pick East Carolina, just doing a quick overlook of some stats and things like that and looking at the advanced stats preview, but I've been swayed by Nathan Bond, much like I told him that picking against USF in the Tulsa game was just a jerk thing to do. It's really a jerk thing to do to pick against USF the week of the watch party. I can't put those kind of negative vibes out there. That's just not what I'm about. So I'm going to go USF. Let's go 34-31. USF pulls off the victory on the road.
Okay. I like it. USF for me. Actually, you know what, Steeg? Are you doing a normal one or a weird one? I got to ask.
I mean, the way I'll lead into it is weird, but
all right. I'll still save you for last, and that's fine.
Okay.
I'm very confident in this game, which is again to our detriment, for sure. USF is going to win 31-10.
That would be great.
I think you're going to see the ball control offense that you saw versus Temple. I think that what travels on the road isn't the run game or something like that. Isn't that what allegedly travels there, Seth? Defense and run game travel. So I think USF's offense is going to be able to stay on the field, sustain some drives. I don't think Jeff Scott's going to stop being aggressive on fourth down. I think we're going to see some of that still. I think he's going to, if he wins the toss, he's definitely going to, if he did it at home twice in a row, I think best to do it again. Get that ball, go down, score 2 weeks in a row. He's done that. They've been in position to score points. It didn't happen last week, due to a bad snap, but they went down and drove the field, and they did against Tulsa. They can do it again against the CCU defense, and they're going to just control the clock, control the game. They're going to breeze out of Greenville, North Carolina with an easy 31-10 win. Robert Steeg, redeem yourself.
So full disclosure, whenever I come up with these like stupid leeway things, I come up with them during the day prior to us having these discussions. Normally I'm listening to my movie musical soundtracks during work. That's where most of these come from. You guys have seen Phantom of the Opera, right?
With Gerard Butler?
Yeah, Gerard Butler.
Yes, we are cultured.
Andrew Lloyd Webber joint.
Yeah, Andrew Lloyd Webber. I'll go on a separate rant about him, later in life. But yeah, fantastic Broadway, one of the most successful of all time. We can kind of liken Phantom of the Opera to the Temple game last week. I mean, it's perfect. It's exactly what you want. It's the performance that we all wanted on Broadway. Did you guys know that there's a sequel to Phantom of the Opera?
Phantom of the Multiplex.
That's a good Disney movie, man. I'm not gonna lie. I watched that a few months ago.
This is culture, Steeg.
Yeah, that's I saw it when I was scrolling through Disney Plus earlier. Thought about it, but no, there is a sequel to the hit opera Broadway Phantom of the Opera. It's called Love Never Dies, and it's so the Phantom and Christine, they go their separate ways. Phantom's dead, and everything happens. So turns out they have an illegitimate child together. Christine moves to New York. Her and Raul will have their love and their marriage and everything like that. And then the minor side character, Phantom Opera, the one that lifts the mask at the end, and it's very dramatic and everything like that. She ends up killing Christine after trying to kill the illegitimate child out of jealousy because she wanted to be the lead Broadway actress in the Phantoms movie. It's a terrible Broadway. It's terrible. Andrew Lloyd Webber did a terrible job with it. Overall, terrible experience. That is not what USF is going to do. USF is not going to put a stinker out there on the Broadway. They're going to come out. We're going for a 34-7 victory for our USF Bulls. I think Travis Marsh is going to be the guy here. I think he's going to hit. I think he's going to hit a bomb this game. I think we're going to see I'm going to go with a 75-yard touchdown pass. It's going to travel about 175 yards in the air. It's going to bounce off the video board and come back down into DeMarcus Gregory's waiting arms. I think we'll get our first big explosive touchdown of the year finally, and we'll all be happy and joyful at good old Irish 31.
I think that play would be out of bounds. I don't think that play would count there, Steeg.
No, it'll count. It'll count.
Did you just describe a bad musical to tell us that it will be nothing like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just so everyone following along at home can keep charting that. So Steeg has a 75-yard bomb. Seth, I was adamant that Jared Mangan was going to get his touchdown longer than 10 yards. And the amount of times he got tripped up on the way there was infuriating. This is the week. I'm doubling down. This is the week he's going to get a touchdown longer than 10 yards. This is the week the offense will get a touchdown longer than 10 yards because I don't think that's happened yet still, right?
Not to my recollection.
Not to my knowledge, right?
No. When Steeg was saying earlier that Jared Mangum's, or I think you were saying, Nate, he's 6 away from the record. I was thinking in my head, he's 6 yards from the record.
Pretty much. That's what's going to happen. Oh man, we have so far gone off the rails tonight. I love it.
Do we have the meme to show? There's been a meme.
There's been a meme
posted on Twitter. Here, I'll send it to you.
For some reason, Daniel sent one that is not in my DMs, so I don't know where it went. Daniel, if you're still here, please help.
Alex as well.
There you go.
There it is.
Yep, that's God. This is going to be the main talking point for the rest of the year. I just know it. I have God.
Hey, so all right, so Steeg.
Yeah.
If USF wins, right? Last week you're supposed to do ranch soda, right? Or ranch or something, right?
The beer mile.
Oh, that's right, the beer mile.
I realized we were on short notice and I couldn't get it in this week. It'll probably be a postseason kind of thing when I can hop over to Jefferson.
If they win this week,
yeah,
we've got to hear more of your impressions next week. Possibly, you possibly might have to make your pick in impression voice.
Yeah, we'll fan vote it.
Maybe put it to a vote. What impression the fans want to hear?
Yeah, and I'll do my research, and we'll see what impressions I can do because Boy, can I not do? I can do a Kermit the Frog impression and an Elmo impression, and that's about it. He's just
I
giggling.
mean,
over
your
everything.
Harrison Connery was right on.
Yeah, I'm
was
a
right
Harrison
on
Connery.
earlier. So
Oh, yike! All right, guys, let's wrap this up with one final thing that we haven't talked about tonight. The Daily Stampede watch party Thursday night. Football game. I couldn't give a straight face. 1611 West 1 Avenue, Tampa, Florida, 33606, down there in Hyde Park. Come out with the Daily Stampede crew and a bunch of USF fans. Enjoy yourselves. There's some great food, great specials. There's going to be some ticket giveaways, maybe a special guest or two. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've always had fun at these watch parties. It's just a fun time to interact. Everybody, loved the halftime thing where, a bunch of fans just kind of congregated and hung out for a little bit. Now think about that for 4 hours. I know you got to hang out with some of these people for 4 hours. I completely understand that. But maybe you'll imbibe in some drinks and then, drive home safely, or, get an Uber. Please get an Uber. If you drink too much, don't be stupid. Don't drink and drive. That's the way. That's the plan. But come out, support us. All the proceeds from the raffle will go to help sending us to away games, maybe some basketball away games for men and women's basketball. Just some fun stuff. It'll be exciting, but be sure to come to the Irish 31 down there in Hyde Park on Thursday as the Bulls take on ECU. And with that, the Bulls will win. It's going to be a fun night. Signing off once again. Thank you for listening to the derailed version of the Bulluminati podcast presented by Irish 31. Peace out. Go Bulls.
go Bulls. Alex, happy birthday to your mom.
Yep. Go Bulls. I was going to do an impression there. It's not going to happen.
Do the Kermit on the way out. Say go Bulls like Kermit.
Oh, God.
I'll close my eyes.
I can't even think of how you would say that. No, there's I don't no.
Dude,
no,
you're so bad at this.
Is Kermit
No.
here?
I'm out.